something very interesting is going on with Pokemon Center ETBs in relations to booster boxes. So sets that have a PC ETB and a booster box. I just wanted to point something out that I thought was very interesting I found today. So this is the Miraidon Pokemon Center SV base Pokemon Center ETB. It's up 32%, went from 87 up to 116. However, most recent sales actually 130. Before that, there's some 108s, there's some 130s, and a 140 down here. So they have the market at 116. We'll say it could be 130-ish, right? We'll see. There's only 9 currently listed, so that's probably going to go up. Lowest right now is 129, so currently 130 is the lowest you can get this for. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, 130 would put this higher than the booster box. Booster box market, it's pretty firm 120, pretty solid. The booster box, 31% growth, super solid from 91 up to 120. One of the cheapest SV era boxes right now. I don't think there's anything below 120. So yeah, that's very interesting. And last sold's very consistent on the SV base, 120 all across the board. There's a 110 down here, but that seems like that's the anomaly there. So this is the first time that I think we've seen this. The Pokemon Center ETB being more expensive than the booster box. And that's wild. And if you're not familiar, it's because there's a stamped promo, a limited edition promo, if you will. And it's just a little surprising to me. I didn't think the tides would be turning this quickly on these. So, yeah, you can pick up a booster box for cheaper than a PC ETB of SV base. And that got me thinking, what, is there another set that's like that? Well, check out Paldea Evolved. These Paldea Evolved Pokemon Center ETBs are up 67% in the past 3 months, and they're still climbing. Most recent sales, 180. From 95 to 162 market just in the last 3 months. And last solds, we're seeing 180, 220, 210, 250 in the 200s. There's only 16 of these currently listed on TCG Player. That blows the booster box out of the water. Obviously, we don't even really need to do the comparison, but we're going to. Paldea around 140. This was the leading booster box for a while, it seemed like. This is pretty firmly at 140. We'll take a little zoom out on this one just to see. This was as low as $91 a year ago, and it's just slowly climbed. And once it got into the 140s, it kind of just stayed there. It fluctuated up, down, 130, 140, 130, 140 for the past few months or so, since about August. So, yeah. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this Pokemon Center ETB surpassing that booster box already. I mean, I get the limited, the stamped on there and stuff, but it just seemed like it happened real quick. And for these boxes, this little 3-day window right here, the 28th, 29th, and 30th of November, that's when the most sales were. So, yeah, not a lot of these out there. It does have the Pikachu promo, so, I mean, I do get that. This is the one where he's jumping with the other starters. It's probably one of the greatest promos of the PC ETBs, in my opinion. I really like that one a lot. So, yeah, higher than booster boxes. That's very interesting. That's a very telling. You can't say. Also, the MSRP is way cheaper than a booster box. You're getting these at 60 versus booster boxes. Even if you're getting them in the 80s, that's still a lot higher. So, right now, for some of these sets, not all of them, the Pokemon Center ETBs are vastly outperforming the booster boxes as the best investment of the era, hands down. With some exceptions, obviously. But here's just two examples. Now, I wanted to go back to SV Base just for a second, just to point out that this is a $120 box on TCG. And I've always been vocal that I said that this was the best base set we've ever gotten. The artwork's really good. I've liked this set a lot. But is it really $120? That's the thing people are going to ask. They're going to say, I can get it cheaper somewhere else. And you can a little. This is eBay. This is what we have listed on eBay. You could get, this is, I don't know if you want to buy from the seller, 99 plus 10.50 shipping. You got 113, 115 down here, another 113, and a 110. So yes, you can get it cheaper on eBay. There's also a 140 listing on here as well, but there's not really a ton currently listed. So yeah, we'll take a look at, so this is the other Pokemon Center ETB from SV Base. They split them up into two. They do that sometimes. And this one's not as crazy, but it is up 39%, which is a great gain from 68 to 96. We'll just double check the last solds. There is a few 108 sales in here. So it looks like this box is probably going to continue to go up into the $100 range. Only 19 listed on TCG, so there's just not that many out there for sale right now. I also wanted just to take a look at a few SV base cards just because the set's getting a little pumped up. The Gardevoir EX, 37% growth. This is my favorite card from the set, and it went from, in the last 3 months, a low of 25 up to 37. Most recent sales are a little lower than that, 33, 37, 33, 35, 36, so this card's probably going to come back down, dip just a little bit. The pull rates from SV base are super easy, so that's a little downside to it. But we also have the Ralts. We talked about these cards recently, but I think they continue to run since we talked about them. The Ralts is up 57% from a low of 13 up to a high of 23. And one of the last solds is higher at $30. And 24 before that, 21, 23. Another 30 down here. So I'd be interested to see if the Ralts continues to rise to a $30 card. That'd be very interesting. This is a very tough to grade illustration rare as well. The Miraidon EX, I love this card with the dash bun. Yeah, this card too, 38% growth. Once again, a lot of these cards are not expensive. The pull rates, unfortunately, made it that way, I feel, and the lack of popularity of the set. This card in the last 3 months went from a low of 13 up to 20, 22. Last sold's 22, there's 18, 19, 19. So this card might be dipping back down a little bit into the high teens. We'll see. Legendary Pokemon, great artwork. I like this card. And last one from SV base, we're going to touch on, the Kirlia. 51% growth in the past 3 months from a low of 10 up to 17. Last solds, we have a 21 last sold though. But before that, 13, 15, 17, 16. So I don't think that 21 is going to hold, but that is interesting that somebody paid $21 for this card. Another illustration rare, hard to grade, tells a story between the three. So I think it's a cool card. We'll zoom out to the 1 year, just take a little look at things. Very steady climb, 112% growth over the past year, just slowly chugged up. So that's nice to see. Good, healthy growth, long, sustained growth. That's what you want to see. We're going to look at a few more. We're going to look at the Paradox Rift. So this is one of those cases that is not. It is not the case with the PC ETB, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But this booster box is $123, $125. 20% growth. It went from a low of just over 100, 102 to where it's at now. Very underrated set, in my opinion. I've always liked Paradox. I've been vocal about that in some videos. You'd have to go back to find those, but deep IRs, a lot of IRs on this set. Last sold's pretty consistent, 125s down the board, with a 119 thrown in there here and there. So yeah, it's nice to see some of these boxes, getting up in price just a little. So this is the Pokemon Center ETB. Now, I'm not saying that this is, okay, this could be a play if the other PC ETBs are just taking off. This is still $80, right? This is the most expensive of the two. There's two for this set. I just picked the one that's already doing the best. It is up 31%. It went from, at MSRP, $60. I don't know why would you sell them at $60? That's what you paid for it. I actually paid more with tax. Well, if you have tax. Not everybody has to pay tax. From 60 up to 80. So, and there's, last sold to 80, a few 85s, a few higher. Lowest listed is 65 right now, so that might be a pickup. Some of these, just if they run, I don't know, there's only 60 of these currently on TCG. I could see somebody swooping in and buying these up. These could go to 100 pretty easily. Just letting you guys, be aware. That's definitely a possibility. I wanted to look at a few of the cards from the set because Paradox Rift is a great set. It is a great set. I like it. It might end up being like a mid-tier set by the end of the era, but for me, right now, I like especially just this card alone. I like the Groudon. I like the Roaring Moon. I like there's a lot of underrated IRs as well. But the Groudon's 50% up in the past 3 months alone, from 46 up to 70. So that's, talk about an illustration rare carrying a set. I mean, we've seen that with Paldea as well with the Magikarp, but it's kind of crazy to see it. This must be a Japanese sale. Once again, get these Japanese listings out of here. TCG, why you have a dedicated section, get them out. It's ruining things. So if we ignore these ones, we have a 75, a 75, a 67, 70. So maybe the market price should be 71, 72, in between those 70 and 75 sales. but the Japanese listings are ruining things. So once again, that's just one of my pet peeves that I absolutely hate. They add a Japanese set. Okay, I'm not going to keep going. Then we have the Roaring Moon, which honestly, definitely my second favorite card from the set. I do like the Groudon a lot, but I love everything about this card. The Screamtails, it's just a fun card. Not doing as hot, but 13% growth is pretty good. In the last 3 months, from a low of 44 up to $56. Last sold's 56, 56, 56, 50. Okay, so it's a $56 card, pretty well established, but harder to pull than the Groudon. But Groudon's a pretty exciting Pokemon. Now we're gonna jump back. I had these a little bit out of order, and then we're gonna pull up one more set at the end that I did not have prepared. But I wanted to jump over to the Magikarp from Paldea. I moved the booster box to ETB comparison to the beginning of the video because I wanted to get that out up front. But the Magikarp, illustration rare, carrying a set, 65% growth from a low of 105 up to 195, 194. There is a few last solds that are a lot higher than that. We're seeing a 238 and 239 sale. But then it's kind of pretty much around high 180s, low 200s fluctuating. So this market price probably seems about accurate, 194. So yeah, very interesting. Shinji Kanda, artist, probably becoming one of my favorite artists of the era. I do like the Giratina a lot as well, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. But yeah, he's pushing out some heat, in my opinion. Then the Tyranitar. This is the last card that we're going to talk about on here. And I gotta get my keyboard ready. I got one of those Bluetooth keyboards, and it falls asleep, and then it messes up when I try and type something. But the Tyranitar up 48%. It had a 26, low of 26 up to a high of 45, and it's kind of come down off of that into the high 30s. But this card in the last year has been 45, then back down to 20, and then so it's kind of been fluctuating all over the place. But if we set a higher low, that would be good. Show a lot of growth for this card. This is another one of those cards I like as well. Great IR from Paldea. But we are going to pull up just Obsidian Flames real quick. I did not have this prepared. I apologize. I wanted to do a quick comparison, and we do not need near mint boxes. We are going to look at some boxes here and pull up the booster box. This is another one of those examples, okay, that I forgot to pull up. So Obsidian Flames booster box, probably not the best set overall. It's probably regarded as bottom tier. I think it's a fun set to open if you like to pull Charizards. But it's up 16%. The boxes went from 109 up to 130. And there's talks of, well, it doesn't matter. But 130, 130, 135, 132. So pretty solidly a $130 box. But the ETB right here just blows it out of the water. 186 actually last sold. 224. Somebody bought two at 224, but before that, 150, 150, 197, 200, pretty consistently that 186 or higher price. So just absolutely blowing the booster box out of the water. Now, this isn't always the case. Like I said, it's not every set, but these are just a few of the. It seems like the earlier sets kind of set up that way. So I don't think. Let's see, off the top of my head, I'd have to double check, but I don't think Twilight, obviously Stellar Crown, obviously Surging Sparks, those aren't doing that. What are we missing? There's one more set in there. Oh, Temporal. I don't think Temporal's there. I'll double check while I'm talking to you guys. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing where it was for a while, I feel like myself and others were like, hey, PC ETBs. Okay, yeah, so Temporal's definitely not there. Those are $80 in the boosters at 130. So not there at all. But we were like, hey, Pokemon Center ETBs, they might be a good investment. You should maybe look into those. And now it's those are really good investments. They're killing the booster boxes. So yeah, I guess that's what this video was about. PC ETBs are doing really well. Maybe they just need time to mature and sell out, because those early sets, those have been out for a long time. So maybe that's the key to them rising in value, is you need a little bit more time, which isn't that much time really. I mean, for SV base and Paldea, it's been a little bit, but it hasn't been that long. We're not talking 3 to 5 year investments. We're talking just a year and maybe closer to 2 on some of these. So yeah, that's very interesting, and I want to see kind of how the market reacts. Like I said, I think there's a few buyout opportunities on TCG with some of those Pokemon Center ETBs. I am not doing buyouts on those. Okay, I gotta save some of my cash flow for some of the upcoming sets, but I would not be surprised if we see that happen on some of those in the near future. But yeah, in summary, PC ETBs are really good, and booster boxes of this era are doing really good. The market's crazy. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. It's a 15-minute one. It's pretty solid. Okay. I'll catch you guys in the next one. And remember... Oh, I had a... Dang it. I forgot to wear my Christmas sweater. I'll try and wear it in tomorrow's video. You guys will see what I'm talking about. And remember, it was never a phase.